of your comments so that I can kind of converse with you as we do this tonight. Let's see, move that camera up just a little bit and find me and get comfortable, and then we're going to go ahead and get a subscriber of Paper Pumpkin. You can still get some fun ideas. The box comes with one ink spot to make whatever it's intended to be, except for, of course, you want to think outside tight to take advantage of this amazing special. So if you're interested, how are you tonight? I did also want to tell my Spokane is putting together backpacks for, I am going to put together an event where people can come. It won't cost. I will keep you in the loop on when it's going to be, and we'll get these cards to make each and every one of the cards or projects in the box. New to stamping, you've never done this before, kind of twist. You also get 9 of these teeny little paper clips. You get a different color every month. So, and they have guaranteed that they won't do the same. I'm going to go out and try to come back in, see if that helps at all. So it is frozen on my screen, so I don't know what it's doing on your screen. Okay, we're back in business on my screen. Okay, so these are, well, actually, let me show you the finished products first. This is what the kit makes, and I've got 3 of them. But I only have 2 hands, so I can only show you these 2 at a time. But they're little treat boxes. They come with the treat bags. They're food safe. I just put paper in mine just to fill it up. Not really, because I give wadded up paper as Christmas treats. And let's see, whoops. And it's coming apart on me. Let's see if I can put it together quickly, and if not, then we're just going to move on. Okay. Well, that's a little better anyway. Okay, so you've got the one treat bag here that it's presents. Let's see, and remember I talked about those little tiny paper clips? They're right here. They paper clip the bow right on the edge. This other one is a Christmas tree. And finally, the last one is this little snowman guy. So these are the 3 kits that it makes, and you get to make 3 of each one. So a total of 9. But tonight what we're going to do is we're going to make a few cards. So let me set these aside. Okay, these are the products that come in the kit. So you know, you get 6 of each of the trees, the presents, and the snowmen, because there's one for each side of the treat box. Then there's some little die cut circles, so you can make tags or whatever you choose. There's these die cuts that are all sorts of tags. There's long, skinny ones. There's little, short, fat ones. But you get a couple sheets of these. These are the boxes for the treat bags, or the boxes that are the middle of the bag, I guess I should say. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See how this has a little box? There's a little box here, and then the tree went on both sides of it. These make the boxes that the treats sit in. And then finally it comes with the 9 treat bags. And these are really cute. They have little snowflakes all over them. So that's what comes in the kit this month. I do happen to have an extra one if anybody wants to purchase it. Normally I don't have extras to share in this way, but I do have an extra one this time around. So if you like what you see tonight and you're saying, oh, I wish I'd signed up for the kit, no problem, let me know. I've got an extra one. Okay, so the first card we're going to work on tonight is this one. And just a little tree like this. And of course the envelope. So we've got a 1/2 sheet of white, basic white cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4 so that we can make our card. Find my bone folder here. Okay. do that so it's got a nice sharp crease. Then I've also got my envelope. I have a smaller piece of white cardstock that I've already taken one of the dies from the Christmas trees die set, this tree right here, and I cut the tree out right out of the middle. So that's what we're going to work with tonight. I also have a strip of the Flirty Flamingo and white ribbon, or twine I should say. And then what I did is I took one of each of the, I don't know what you want to call them, but the snowman and the presents and the tree, and I cut a bunch of little strips. They're all 4 inches long, and these are the back sides of those things. I guess I forgot to show you. Let me grab them here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I showed you this was the front of these. This is what the back of them look like. I'll let you see all of them. So there's some really cute prints on the back. And what I did is I cut these little strips because I want to use the back sides. So that's what we're working with tonight on this card. Let's do our envelope first. Now for this envelope, we're just going to stamp snowflakes all over the flap. Let me get a piece of paper here. Okay, I'm just going to put paper right here so that I don't get ink all over all the rest or other parts of my envelope. And let's see here. And now I'm just going to stamp a bunch of snowflakes. Just like this. And this snowflake stamp did come with the kit. And I'm just kind of randomly putting them on. I'm trying to not put them right on top of each other so it doesn't look too cluttered, but the nice thing is on the stamp itself they're spaced out pretty well, so even if you end up with kind of a big gap somewhere, it still looks okay. So now we've done the envelope, let's move it out of the way. Clean off my stamp. Actually, I'm going to wait because we're going to stamp on the card too, so we might as well just do that right now. So this is the card base that we had, and I'm just going to stamp a little bit of the snowflakes along the edge here. Just right down that side like that. There. Now I'll clean off my stamp with my chamois. And I just got ink all over my fingers. I'm 5 minutes into it and I've already got ink all over myself. Okay. Put my ink pad away. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little strips that I have, and I want to tear off a bit of it because I want that sort of torn look. If you tear toward yourself, then you're going to get a little bit of a white edge like that. And I like that white edge. I think it just gives it a little bit more of a sort of a rustic look. And let's see, I've got my glue here. We're just going to do these one at a time and glue them right down. And the strips that I cut are varying widths. I didn't measure them. I mean, I measured them to make sure that they were 4 inches long. But as far as the width goes, I did not measure. I just wanted a bunch of different sizes. So let's see. I'm going to add this one now. Oops, I forgot to tear the edge. Oh, you know what? I put the glue on the wrong side of that one. Can't use that one now. Let's go for this one. And again, I forgot to tear the edge first. Okay, put it on here. And we're just going to go all the way down the card like this. It actually does go pretty quick, especially once you get going. Now what you could do, which might actually be a pretty smart way to do it, is before you start picking the pieces and gluing them down, is just go ahead and tear all your edges. Then that way it's already done and you don't have to worry about forgetting to do it and tearing into pieces that already have glue. So did everybody have a nice Thanksgiving? Last time I talked to everybody, it was the day before, and lots of people had very different plans. Oh, I glued it on the wrong side again. Darn it. I may have to cut another piece just to get more little red strips. Okay. And you see, I'm just butting these right up to the edge of my card. Nothing super fancy. Okay. I do like to use the liquid glue for this type of a technique because it allows me to sort of slide the paper into place a little bit, where when you use like a tape runner, it can be rather unforgiving once you lay it down and you don't have quite the same wiggle room. So with this, I do like to use the liquid glue, and it dries pretty darn quick, so it's not too bad. Oop. This piece looks like it's going to end up quite a bit shorter than the other pieces, and that's okay. They don't have to be exact. There we go. And if some of your pieces kind of come off the edge, like you see right there, don't worry about it, because when it's all done, we'll trim it down a little bit anyway. Okay. Get these little guys stuck down here. Let's get one like this in here. Tear it first. And I did notice that this particular assortment of colors goes really well with our gingerbread Christmas designer series paper. So, which we're going to use some in one of the other cards, but just the colors in general seem to match up pretty well. Okay. And actually there were a couple of papers I found in our Pattern Party Designer Series paper pack. That's in one of our Hostess packs that you can earn. There are a few papers in there that go with this pretty well also. Let's see, am I out of red? Please don't be out of red. Okay, oh good. I had enough of the red. Glue that on. Now it's going to probably go over the edge a little bit here. It's definitely going to go over the edge a little bit at the bottom, and that's okay because we'll just trim it off. Not a big deal. Now, one thing I just realized that I did on this card is I went all the way from edge to edge. On my sample one, I did leave a little bit of a white edge around all three sides there. So it's just kind of a matter of what you like better, and we can kind of compare notes when we're done here and see what way we like the best. Hey Robin, how are you tonight? You're not very late. I was having issues with Facebook again, so. I noticed a lot of the demonstrators that I watch have been jumping ship to doing everything on YouTube. And I'm kind of given that some thought, but I haven't totally decided yet. We'll just see if I keep having problems. Okay, now I'm going to trim off this part here. Okay, now what we'll do is we're going to take that piece with the tree and take one of our, this is the dark pool party stamp and blend. You guys have seen me do this before where I just kind of flick some color on here. And now what I'm going to do is put some dimensionals on the back. Now, one thing I did with this one is I took, these are some of our foam adhesive strips, just cut down a little smaller so they're not quite as unwieldy. And I put them right here. And the reason I did that is because it is sort of a strange shape. And I want to make sure that, that it holds its shape. It doesn't start to sag there. So I am putting some like that. And I'll put one at the bottom too, just because it's so narrow. I don't know how well it would fit dimensionals. So just got that covered right there. Okay, I want to trim that just a little bit because it looks like it's going to stick over the edge. What are you stuffing your face with, Talina? Talina says they're stuffing their faces, so I'm living vicariously through them. Now, you know what? I might as well just use the strips for this as well. I've got it right here, so. My hubby actually bought me some ice cream last night that I did not eat yet, and I have a feeling I will be stuffing my face with that when I get done. Okay, let's just put these other little ones. You know, if it's worth doing, do it in excess. Okay. Okay, this still might be a little too long. So now we're going to peel the back up. We're going to use these foam adhesive strips on another card that we're using tonight. I'm going to show it to you in a different way. You could have used just regular dimensionals here, but like I said, I wanted to make sure to hold that shape in the center where the tree is cut out, just to make sure that it didn't sag. But dimensionals probably would have worked just fine. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lay the tree right over the pieces that we've laid down, kind of in the middle. There we go. And I'm going to take the twine that is, it's Flirty Flamingo and white. And I'm just going to tie a nice little bow here. Okay. This piece is trying to curve on me on its own, and I don't want it to curve that direction. So you know what I say about that? Show it who's boss. So we got these tails, and I wanted kind of long tails to hang down the tree. So I'm just kind of getting my loops to be the shape that I want them, and then I'll make them a little bit smaller. And one way that I have found that really helps when I do that is I hold the center right where the knot is. I hold the center so it doesn't pull out quite so easily, and that does help it keep its tightness. I mean, I still need to re-tighten a little bit and sometimes I have to go back and play with it some more. But that's just a little tip. I want this to be a little bit longer. Okay. Okay, this little bow, the one in my sample, it tied so nicely and it laid so perfect, and it's too much to ask it to do that twice, I guess. Okay, so now I'm going to take a glue dot, maybe, and I'm just going to lay the bow on there and press it in. Get that glue dot nice and stuck to my bow, and then pull it off. And I'm just going to put it right at the top of my tree, like so. And it looks like my tails are a little uneven, so I'll even them out. There we go. And the last thing we need to do is take the Real Red ink pad. I'm sorry, I'm not using Real Red. I am using Poppy Parade. And I'm using the stamp that says, "Oh, what fun." And I'm just stamping it down here in this lower corner. And then, let me see if I did, oh, I did do something on the inside. So on the inside, let's see if I have enough pieces. I don't have any more red to do this. So, let's see. I'll show you what I did in the other one, but I won't do it in this one just because I seem to be, oh, I might have some more. Hang on just a second. Okay, I remembered I had some left over from the other night. So what I'm going to do is, these aren't going to go all the way across, of course, but it was kind of fun to just do them part way. So what I'm going to do is glue these down, and I want to put them in the same order that I had them on the front. You don't have to. I just did because, I don't know, because I'm weird and things like that matter to me. I want to see if I tore the edges. I did not tear the edge. So I'm going to tear the edge on this one. Oh, I have a little glue booger in there. There are, by the way, a lot of really good ideas on Pinterest for this particular kit. So if you have the kit and you're kind of not so sure what you want to do with it, in addition to these ideas that I'm providing and the ideas that Stampin' Up! Has provided, there are a bunch of really cute ideas on Pinterest. So now we'll put a green one, tear the edge a little. And remember, if you go off the edge a little where they're not perfectly even, it's not a big deal because we'll just trim it off just like we did on the front of the card. Oh, pizza. What do you get on your pizza? What do you guys like on your pizza? I like, well, it kind of depends on what kind of mood I'm in. I'm not a huge fan of red sauce, so I typically like to get white sauce. I like Canadian bacon and pineapple and onion. That's probably what I get most of the time. Okay, there we go with our envelope. Ta-da! Oh, come down, little ties. There we go. And we have card number 1 done and ready to go. Okay, let's close up the ink pad. Throw stuff around a little bit because that's what I do. Clean up our mess here. Put these aside because I can make some more of these cards. And with these, just so you know, these photopolymer stamps, inks, especially reds and pinks and oranges, tend to stain the stamp. That's okay. It doesn't mean they're not clean. It doesn't mean it's going to get the red or pink or orange all over your next color that you stamp. It just colors the stamp itself. But as long as you clean it well, then it gets the excess ink off and it won't get all over everything. Okay, so card number 2. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, card number 2. I used the Christmas tree one on this one. And this is the card we're going to make. We'll actually use both the Christmas tree and the presents to make this one. So let's go ahead and get started on this guy by, we'll make our envelope. We'll glue that little strip down. Okay, got a little bit of glue on my envelope where I didn't want any, so I'll wipe that off and just be careful with it for a while. Okay. Now we'll trim off the extra here. Oops. Okay. Talina says she loves that one. I did have fun with this kit. It took me a little while of staring at it to try to come up with some additional ideas, but once I got going, I really did have fun with it. Okay. There we go. So I have the flap done for my envelope. Throw away my scraps. Okay, so first we have a half of a sheet of Flirty Flamingo cardstock, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Get a nice crisp edge on that. And set it aside for now. Then I have a white layer for the inside, and then I also have a white layer for the outside. I have a piece of Pool Party with what looks like little snowballs all over it. This came from the Pattern Party Designer Series paper pack, the one that I was mentioning that you can get as a hostess. Then we have the tree, and you can see I cut off the bottom because I wanted it to fit on my card. So I did have to do a little surgery and get rid of part of the tree. But it's okay that that's cut because we're going to cover it up with some presents. And what I did is I took the piece that had all the presents and I just cut them out individually. It was really easy to fussy cut them because they're all squares. There are a couple that had bows to go around, but mostly it was just squares and rectangles. So easy to do. So let's go ahead and get the inside of our card done. Make sure these are the same. They are. Okay, and what I did for the inside of this one is I took a couple of presents and did the inside. So I'm going to set aside the ones that I want to use for the front of my card. And I didn't use all of them on the inside. I wanted to leave some room to write, so I didn't want to overwhelm the card with these presents. I should put this up where you guys can see a little better. So I'm going to take a little bit of my adhesive here, and I'm putting the presents down along the bottom. It's not quite to the edge there. Let's see. Okay, there we go. And then this little guy here. One thing to pay attention to is that the presents do have little tags on them, so you want to make sure you're putting the presents right side up so that the tags aren't just magically floating in the air. So that's the inside of our card. Oh, and I wanted to take the Flirty Flamingo ink. And we're gonna, oh, nice. I inked the wrong side of my block. You guys ever do that? Easy to clean off. Okay, let's try inking the stamp now and not just the block. I'm using the Oh What Fun stamp again. Just stamp it right there. There. Clean off my stamp. Close the pad. And let's glue her down. Okay. There we go. Now let's work on the front. I'm going to go ahead and mount this pool party piece that I've got onto the white, and we're just going to go ahead and stick that down onto the card now. And it's got just the tiny little 1/8 of an inch border all the way around, so you kind of have to be careful laying it down. Now we're going to stick it to the card. I don't know if I would have thought to put Pool Party and Flirty Flamingo together, but I really like the way they look. Okay, next I have my tree, and we're going to go ahead and glue it down. And just have it so that it is mainly centered. So the tip of the tree is in the center of my card, and I want the tree itself to line up with the bottom of the white. There we go, like that. And now we're going to take our presents. And I kind of played with them first to figure out where I was going to want them. It looks like the tree is sticking out a little bit over here, and I don't think my present's going to cover it. So I'm going to just trim that a little bit. Yeah, it'll be okay on the other side. Okay, so I just laid them down and played with them and figured out what I liked. And what I ended up coming up with was I laid this one flat, and then I used dimensionals to put these other two on just to pop it up a little bit more. So let's go ahead and stick them down now. And I'm lining this up with the edges of the white. Now finding my dimensionals. And you do get dimensionals in this pack. So you can use those, or you can use some of the ones that you have on hand. Right now I'm finishing off a sheet, as you can see. Yeah, Talina, I typically, if I'm going to stamp on something, I stamp it before I glue it down, because of that exact reason, that if I make a mistake, then I only have to redo that one layer. I don't have to redo the whole thing. Okay, let's see here. Get just a little more in there. You know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to take my little mini glue or dimensionals. I know I've got them here. And I'm going to put them right behind that bow because I want that bow to stick up. My Take Your Pick tool. I find that it's easier to get the little mini ones if I use my Take Your Pick tool, just because they're so tiny. and your fingers just kind of tend to get in the way. Okay, so now I'm going to take all my backing off. And, oh, I don't want to put that guy on yet. I want to put the red one down first. So let's put some backing on that one. I have to turn off my heater. Ugh. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's see. That long. Okay, maybe a little longer than that. Ah. Okay. Okay, I think we've got plenty on there now. Maybe straighten this guy out a little bit. Okay, now we'll put this one on. Again, remember to watch for the tags on the presents so that you're not putting them upside down. And now we have, oh good, it's stuck to the dimensional packaging. And I think I want to have a little bit of a gap here between the two. So I'm just going to put it right there like that. And now we have the whole card. There's your outside. Wow, it doesn't line up real well there. What you can do, it looks like maybe I didn't cut super straight on the bottom of that present, so it was giving a little bit of a gap. So not a big deal. I just redid it and tucked it under the pink one a little bit so that that didn't show. But you do have to, or you do want to make sure you have it straight though. Okay, there we go, like that. There we go. We have our envelope, the inside of our card, and our envelope. So got number 2 done for you. Oh, it's not done. There's one more thing. One more thing that you always have to put on your tree. I have a little star, and I used the star from the Stockings die cuts. I used this little star right here. And first, before we put a dimensional on there, I want to put a little bit of Wink of Stella on there so that our star is shining bright. Okay. And then get one of our mini dimensionals. I think a regular size one would be too big for it. Make sure I'm doing this on screen here so you can see it. Oh yeah, a regular size one would have been way too big. Get the back off. Okay. And just stick that little baby right on top of the tree. And now she's finished with our little flirty flamingo star at the top. Okay, so that's card number 2. Clean up my mess here a little bit and we'll get going on card number 3. I'm really excited about card number 3, you guys. Let's see here. What I did, some of you may be familiar with shaker cards. I have been familiar with them for years, but I have never actually made one. And so I finally decided this was the time to do it. So I have this guy right here. You see he's got little glittery bits inside. And I used the full-size snowman here. So as you can see, it's bigger than the normal card size. So I bought some 5x7 envelopes, and this piece of designer series paper also came from that Hostess set I was telling you about, Pattern Party, just because the colors seem to work well with this. So what we're going to do here is let's do our envelope first. And I was surprised, like I said, this is the first time I've made a shaker card. No, I take that back. I guess I did make one in a class before, but this is the first time I designed one and made it. And I was pleasantly surprised by how easy it is to do. So I hope that when you see me make this tonight, if you have never made one before, I hope this encourages you to give it a try. The secret I have found, the secret weapon, is those adhesive strips, because they're pliable and bendable, and so you can make them fit whatever shape you want. It just makes it a lot easier. So let's get this piece on here. Whoops. Okay. Trim off the excess. This Pattern Party paper that I used on the flap here, on the back side, it's got lots of beautiful colors and designs on the front. On the back, it's all black and white. So you can see these little flowers. You could color those if you want. You could just add a little bit of color with maybe the pastels or a sponge dauber, or you can just leave it black and white. There's a whole lot you can do with it, and there's some fun patterns. So, okay, so there's our envelope. Let's scoot this out of the way. Now let's look at all of our pieces here. This is our basic, our card base, which is a half a sheet of Poppy Parade. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then I also have a piece of Old Olive that we're going to stamp a little bit. So let's stamp on this guy. I'm going to do the snowflakes again, but this time I'm going to do them in Old Olive. This is a tone-on-tone technique, I guess you could call it. It ends up being the ink is slightly darker than the cardstock, so it does still show up, but it doesn't make it too overwhelming. And I don't really have to do the entire card for this, but the snowman is kind of weird shaped, and there are a lot of open spaces, so you don't really know where you're going to need snowflakes and where you're not going to need them. So I do recommend going all the way around the edge, and then just lay the snowman on there to get an idea of whether or not there's more spaces that need some filling in with the snowflakes. So I'm going to take, whoops, I forgot to put my snowman in there. Let me grab him. So like I'm laying them on here, and it looks like I covered all these little areas pretty well. So I'm going to now go ahead and glue him on. Well, first I'm going to put away my ink pad, clean off my stamp. Okay. Okay, let's glue the snowman down. Now remember, we're not going to want adhesive all the way up to the top because his head goes up over the card. So what we're going to do here is let me see. If I put him on like this, I only want to go about 2/3 of the way up his earmuffs. Okay, let's stick that right on here. Make sure he's centered and make sure he's straight. He is a little crooked, that's okay. My cute little crooked snowman will survive. Now let's go ahead and glue this onto the card. Make sure all the margins are relatively the same. So we have that. Now let's, crumb, you know what I forgot to do? I glued him down, and we didn't want him glued down because we need to make him into a shaker. So what we're going to do is we are going to take the layering circles, and I think, let me see which circle I used. Yep, this is the circle I used. And I just laid it on him like this and cut out the center. And I knew I was going to lose part of his scarf and his little buttons, but that's okay. It still turns out really cute. So let me get my mini stamping and embossing. Well, I may have to use the large one. Give me just a second because I think I need to use the large one. I think he's too wide to fit through the big one, or the little one. Okay. Fortunately, this part is quick. It was a little tricky since he was sticky on the back, but we did okay. Now what I'm going to do is take, well, let me put away this circle so I don't get it lost. And I have a little piece of our window sheets. They're just little plastic sheets. One thing I'll warn you about is they do tend to get very fingerprinty. So I do like to go over it with just the edge of my shirt or whatever to clean off some of it. You're not going to get rid of all of it because you're going to touch it again and get more on there. But that's okay. At least gets some of it off. And what we're going to do is I want to put some adhesive, let's see here, just around the edge here of my circle. Okay. Now, I don't know if I cut this too big or not. No, it looks like it's going to fit just fine. What I could have done, just so you know, if my square had been a little too big, I could have trimmed the corners there, and it would have been just fine. Okay, so now the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to take, these are the full-sized adhesive strips that I was talking about. And they're nice and skinny, and you can see how I'm bending it, and that's what I really like because it just really shapes to fit what you need. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this around the circle on top of my piece of cellophane there. But I don't want to get it too close to the edge of the circle because you don't want it to show through the front. So you want it to be off a little bit, but you don't want it to be so far off that all your little shimmer bits that we're going to put in there fall out of the way and you can't see them. So it looks like I might just need a little bit more. Just a teeny tiny bit. I really like this stuff. It's so easy to work with. And you do want to make sure that you close up that circle well because you don't want all your little bits falling out through an open part there. Okay, so I've already torn my why can't I think of what it's called? The release tape off of mine. I probably should not have because you don't want all your little shaky bits to get stuck to that. So if you do take it off early like I did, just be careful when you put your little shaky bits in. So what I did is I poured a little bit of these ones are called, oh goodness, I don't have my glasses on. These are Subtle Shimmer Sequins. They are in our winter mini catalog, which by the way, it is going away at the end of the year. So if there are things in that catalog that you want, you definitely want to get them before they're gone. And December 1st, I think it is, several of those items are going on sale. But even if they aren't going on sale, if there's something you want to get it before it's gone. Okay, so the next thing I did is I took some of the little red pieces and I put them in. This is from the, what do they call this one? From My Heart Faceted Gems, and these are in the annual catalog. I'm putting these bigger ones in. I don't know if you can tell that I'm doing this from the camera, but these are flat on the back. I am putting them upside down so that the flat side is sticking up. And the reason for that is because they're big enough that they won't flip over when you do the shaky stuff. So if they're in there upside down, they're going to stay upside down. Okay, now I'm just putting a few of the small ones in, and I'm just adding these because I wanted to get a little bit of red in there to bring that red out of his scarf. So let's see, maybe a few more of the little red ones. Okay, I'm going to call it good here. So you can see I mostly have the white ones, but just a little bit of red to give it some color. Now what I did here is I took a piece of the cards or the designer series paper from our gingerbread set, and I cut another little 3x3 square, and I'm just going to lay it over my adhesive there. What that's going to do now is it's going to lock those little shimmery bits in place. And right now it's very staticky because I've been rubbing it and working with it. After a little while, the static will go away and they will fall down so they're not stuck to the adhesive. I do want to trim this corner down a little bit. It looks like it could show from the front, so we're just going to trim that. And now we'll go ahead and glue him to the card. Now what I did is I used bear with me, I'm not thinking straight today. I used our foam adhesive strips, or I'm sorry, not the foam adhesive strips, but the foam adhesive sheets to prop up the rest of him. So stick that square right behind his head, like that. And then, let's see, I think I want to put a little there too. Okay. Now this part right here, I want this to be sticky too, but I'm afraid it'll kind of crush it since it's raised if I use my regular adhesive. So I'm going to use some of that Terran tape that they provided in the kit. Just put a few strips on there because I can just lay them on gently and still have the adhesive. Now another idea, I suppose I could glue on the card itself, put some adhesive there, but this was, I thought, just as easy. So very lightly rub over it so that you get a good seal there so you can Now take your pick tool and peel off the release tape. Now we'll stick him to the front of the card. Okay, so now we're going to do the little banner on the front. And for this, I just used my Memento black ink. Oh, I warned you about putting adhesive on his head when I did it before, and I did not think about it this time around. So that's easy enough to fix. You'll just trim it. Okay, it's a little higher than I would have liked. I don't typically like it to show, but I think that's okay. It's not terrible. Okay, now we're going to take the Memento black ink, and the message I'm using is Happy Holidays. I'm going to stamp it right in the middle. Okay. Then what I want to do is I want to give it that banner, the banner end. So hang on, I put that away. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I better put that ink pad away. I'm just going to feed this in. This little strip is 1 inch wide, and it fits in here. Actually, I think it's 7/8 of an inch is what I did. So you kind of have to eyeball it to make sure it's centered in the grooves here, because the grooves are designed to fit 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, and 1 inch. So I just line it up, make sure it's centered pretty well. Then do the other end. Okay. Now I have, where'd my little ribbon, or my twine go, darn it. So I'm going to take the twine and make a little bow. I do like this twine, it's so easy to tie. Make my little loops smaller. There we go. Not sure I want it this long, but we'll put it on and see how it looks. Now we'll use the glue dots to stick it on there. You could also use the little paper clips that came with it to stick the bow on the banner. Okay. Yeah, that might be a little longer than what I really want, so that was close. I almost cut the banner. Okay, now we'll stick it on here against him, and I did use some dimensionals on this. I need to get some full-size dimensionals, but rather than going looking for those, I'll just cut a strip of this. Again, I'm just using the foam adhesive sheet. Dimensionals would have worked just fine. I just didn't want to have to take up your time while I went searching for another sheet of them. Okay, and I'm gonna just line it up here. Just like that. I like to make the edges of my banners stick up a little, just gives it a little bit of dimension there. Now let's do the inside real quickly. You know the drill here. I'm just taking a piece of the, this is again the gingerbread designer series paper, and it matches what's inside of our snowman. And stick it down there. Line it up inside. You could stamp a message in here if you wanted to, or just write a message. But there we go. There's our cute little shaker snowman. Isn't he adorable? And so, so easy to make. I hope this, like I said, I hope that by watching me do it, it encouraged you to see how simple it is, especially if you get the foam strips, because you can make them go any shape you need, especially if you're working with like circles or things like this. And the layering dies are perfect, or the layering circle dies are perfect for something like this. So there we have it. Card number 3. So how about if I get them all out so you can see them all together, what we did tonight. I don't know if I'm not seeing comments or if you guys are just a very quiet crowd tonight. Okay. All right, so we have our little shaker card snowman that we made. And we've got our Christmas tree with the presents inside too. And then we have the one with the Christmas tree with the torn strips. There we go. No, I didn't see it, Robin. In fact, now I'm getting comments, and there are no comments from the time that Talina said she would have to stamp and then do the presents. There was nothing until just now when you said, "Did you see mine?" But thank you. So what do you guys think? Which one's your favorite? I'm kind of torn, I think, between this Christmas tree one and the shaker one, mainly because I'm just so excited that I did it all by myself. So this is what I've got for you tonight. If you are, the snowman, Robin likes the snowman. I am going to, I do this every month. So next month we've got the kit with the little banana with his glasses. Talina likes the tree. This tree or the one with the presents? The big tree. Talina likes the big tree with the presents. I do like them all. I had a lot of fun making them. Like I said, I do this every month with the paper pumpkin kits. I do a video right around the 3rd week of the month. It just depends on what day I get my kit and if I have enough time to make the ideas and time to do a Saturday video. So if you are excited to see what we come up with next week's or next month's kit, join me here. I'll keep you posted and let you know what date that will be. Like I said, it's usually around the 3rd week of the month, but the exact day comes down to when I actually get it. You can still sign up for that paper pumpkin kit until the 10th of December. If you want it, make sure you do sign up by then because they cut it off on the 10th and then you won't be able to get it. So If you are interested in placing an order for any of the supplies I used tonight, please, I'd love to earn your business. So you can go to my website, heathersides.stampinup.net. If your order is under $150, please use this code. This is what helps me to be able to keep providing these free videos to you. If your order is over $150, then don't use the host code, because you will earn some free stuff from Stampin' Up! And I want to make sure that you are the one who gets that. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. If you are looking for something to do on Wednesday night, please join me for my weekly live Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you liked what you saw tonight, please like this video, share this video. If you are watching the replay on YouTube, then please subscribe. There will be a little subscribe button down below, and getting the subscribers helps. One, it helps make me know that yes, I'm doing the right thing, that you guys are liking what you see, but it also fits into the algorithm to get the video out there a little bit more. So with that in mind, I hope you guys all have a great night, and I hope to see you Wednesday.